Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mayo Media Network. Lee Snyder here with you to talk Champions League as usual. We've been off for quite a while here thanks to the international break, but Champions League is back this Tuesday. We've got a two-match slate on DraftKings. We are now in the quarterfinals, so only 8 teams remain. So we've got a blank slate here. These are new matchups. Don't have to worry about the aggregate scoreline just yet. As usual, I'm going to go ahead and give you 2 plays at each position, a higher end play and then a value play, and then a couple bets at the end. But before we jump into that, let's talk about these matchups. So we have Manchester City hosting Borussia Dortmund. As I record this, Manchester City are roughly a minus 250 or a bit higher favorite. That match is at a 3 total. And then in the other match, it's Real Madrid hosting Liverpool. That one is dead even, complete pick'em right now, and that is a 2.5 total. So just a little overview on the strategy on this slate. I think that Real Madrid Liverpool match is really hard to predict. That's obviously why it's a pick'em, and the total is not that high, especially for Champions League. Whereas the Manchester City Dortmund match, Dortmund a very good team, but we're talking about Manchester City here, who are just steamrolling people. They're the only substantial favorite on this team. It's the only match with a 3 total, obviously. So I think targeting Manchester City probably makes a lot of sense if we're talking about what the optimal strategy or roster construction is on the slate, and you're going to see that reflected in my picks. Of course, if we're talking about tournaments, doing something different and being a little contrarian is certainly a good way to think about finishing at the top of a GPP. And maybe you don't play as many Manchester City players, but cash game or optimal build, I like a lot of City here. So let's kick it off at the forward position. There are not a lot of high floor forward plays on this slate. We're really looking at goal scorers. So I think that makes Gabriel Jesus a really good value at 7.3K. He's been playing really well for City. He's kind of overtaken Aguero. Sure, Aguero did have injuries this year, but he's really overtaken Aguero as City's top striker. In the last month and a half or so, he's been scoring a lot of goals, did score over the weekend. So not a guarantee he starts here, but if he does, I really like Gabby Jesus. He has among the highest implied scoring odds on this slate, around 42%. And actually in Champions League play, he's been averaging 7.5 floor points, which is much better than I expected, and is another reason I like him. Now, if Jesus does not start, there are a number of plays in that range that I think also make a lot of sense. You could just opt for Raheem Sterling instead from Manchester City. He has not quite been playing as well as Jesus, but he's an option. And then a couple Liverpool options right there. Sadio Mane and Diego Jota, I think are fine fill-ins for Jesus if he's not in there. At the second forward slot, I like the value that Bernardo Silva brings at 5.7K. He's been a regular starter in the Champions League for Manchester City. He doesn't have the scoring upside that some of his teammates do. I think his implied scoring odds are in the 25% neighborhood, but he's got a solid floor, and I like getting as many City pieces as possible to increase my chances of getting exposure to the goals that I do believe City will be scoring against Dortmund in this match. So Silva really just a value play more than anything, but I think he makes a lot of sense in many roster constructions that are in the optimal realm. Okay, let's go ahead and move over to the midfield position. And at midfield, easiest play on the slate. Don't even have to think twice about it. It's Kevin De Bruyne at 9.2K. I would say the most talented player on this slate. He's City's most influential player for sure. He's the most likely to grab an assist, but his implied scoring odds are up around 40% too. So, that's among the best on the slate. He's right up there with guys like Benzema, Salah, Jesus, for example. The other thing here is that I don't think Riyad Mahrez is going to start. And that's good news for Kevin De Bruyne because that means he's going to have an even larger share of set pieces for City most likely. So I've already talked too much about Kevin De Bruyne. Just put him in your lineup. Easiest play in the slate. After that, midfield is quite thin. Not a lot of places to go. One option is to look at Toni Kroos at 6.9K. He is the Monopoly set piece taker for Real Madrid. So, a relatively safe play, although he did have a dud last time out against Gladbach. But that doesn't concern me too much. He's one of the only other really safe high floor plays at the midfield position. That being said, I am not going to pick Kroos here. I'm actually going to opt for Gundogan at 7K. This is a bit of a riskier play, I will admit, but I still do think it's optimal. So I don't think Gundogan's floor is that much lower than Kroos, but if you look at their potential upside, Kroos has implied scoring odds of around 10%, whereas Gundogan is up at 40%. That might be a little excessive if you ask me, but the thing is Gundogan has been out of his mind in terms of form this season. So he scored in his last 2 matches. So he's on another little streak here. I'm willing to ride that hot hand because of the potential upside, even though his floor is, a few points lower than Toni Kroos. I think just grabbing another City piece at that price range is the way I want to go. Phil Foden could be in there at 7.7K as well, like him as a play, but I like this slight discount with Gundogan, and that is my second midfield play. All right, moving over to defender. After KDB, my next, no-brainer of a play is Trent Alexander-Arnold at 6.5K. Really high floor, over a 10-point floor. He's taking, half of the corners and some direct free kicks for Liverpool. So again, he's just a great value at 6.5K for the floor you're getting there. Not much to think about. I'm playing Trent Alexander-Arnold in a cash or optimal build. There are a number of other defenders on the slate that I think are good plays. Vasquez, Cancelo, Robertson from Liverpool as well. But I'm going to really dig deep here for potential value because I think it is going to be needed if you want to try to play the majority of the guys I have mentioned so far. So I'm actually looking at Emre Can at 2.5K. He's been filling in at right back for Dortmund, and it's looking like he could end up playing there again. So, playing a fullback against City is not always ideal. City are so ball dominant that the fullbacks from the opposing team don't often get involved in the offensive end. Because of that, they end up playing a lot of defense. But nonetheless, this is a min-price fullback. He's a player that we know is talented. He's had a long and successful career. He does some defensive work. So I don't mind slotting in Chan at 2.5K if he does get the start here. In the alternative, you could play Ruben Diaz from City for that clean sheet equity at only 3.1K. But if you need the savings, I do like Chan as a deep value play here. All right, moving on to goalkeeper. I think this has been a constant theme in almost all of my Champions League videos, but I'm just going to pay up for Ederson. Manchester City's defense has just been so solid here. Like I said, I don't have a good read on what's going to happen in that Liverpool and Real Madrid game, so I really want to avoid the keepers there. Just give me Ederson, give me that clean sheet and that win. Very good odds there. So I'm just going to pay up for Ederson and be done with it here. Sometimes I do like to pay all the way down, but I don't think I want to play Dortmund's keeper. The thing with City is they're just so clinical that they might not, force a ton of saves, but they can still score 3 or 4 goals on you in the blink of an eye. So I don't want to play a keeper facing Manchester City right now. It's just it just seems a little dangerous. So all right, guys, those are the DFS plays on DraftKings. Let's talk about bets. So I'm going to avoid that Real Madrid and Liverpool game. I just, it's a pick 'em. it's a coin toss, really, right? So I just don't see any edge in betting that game for me personally. And I'm just going to ride City. They just are having an incredible season. So I'm going to stick with them. Now, if you just bet City to win, the odds are not great. You're getting minus 250 or so on your money. So I like City to win to nil at plus 155. You can get that on DK Sportsbook right now. So you can go back and look at City's results when they're winning matches of late. They're usually winning them in shutouts. And as talented as Dortmund are, they're going to be missing Sancho for this game, which I think is a big miss here. They still have Haaland, of course, but it's going to be asking a lot of him on his own against this Manchester City defense. So give me City to win to nil at plus 155. Next, I'm going to go with an interesting one here. I'm going to go first goal scorer, Kevin De Bruyne at plus 600. There's a number of City goal scorers you can find in that range, but, KDB, he's just playing so well right now. And getting him as the first goal scorer at plus 600 is pretty good value. So that is the second bet I'm looking at. All right, guys, hope you found the video / audio helpful here. I just think it's a pretty straightforward build for cash and optimal. We're just going to focus on Manchester City. They're the only big favorite here, and they're just in great form. So I don't think there's any reason to stray from that plan in terms of cash optimal. Obviously, in GPPs, you can go off the board and mix things up to find leverage against the field at lower ownership. Guys, thanks for tuning in once again. As you know, I'm Lee Snyder. You can find all of my content at numberball.com. Good luck on this slate. Good luck with the bets, and I'll see you next time. Take care.